Thank you. Good evening. You are listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob. Tonight, I have alongside me from the Great Midwest, RDB. I am Rob Rawls, your little drummer boy here tonight as we discuss Christmas Vacation, 1989, one of the last really, really great 1980s films. It's funny. It's hysterical. There's a bunch of great lines in here, one-liners,
Mhm.
puns, whatever you want to call them. There's the epic rant that Clark Griswold goes over. And to me, RDB, nothing says family man when you try to do things the right way as an adult male than Clark Griswold. What's your take on Clark?
Clark is
Excuse me, Sparky.
so yes, Sparky. He is he wants to be a man's man. He wants to be the guy, provides for his family. He wants to give him the best Christmas there is. The scene I just cringe every time is that when they're driving before they even get to the tree farm, they're gonna go buy a tree.
Uh-huh.
And he I can't remember what kind of truck it is. I think it's a Dodge, but anyway, pulls up behind him and just starts tailgating him. He gets angry. He's like, let him go. She's like, what are you doing? Just let him go around. He's like, oh, whatever. He's like, he drives past, and one day's like, hey, look. He's like, look, there's a deer. I'm like, whatever. He's like, and he gives a finger. The guys. So then they brake check him, and he's like, and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, because he speeds up. He's like, do you think I'm gonna ride behind someone who's like doing that? That's not safe. Speeds up around him, goes up, and then he's like, oh crap, here comes a log thing, one of those.
That was a good stunt, though. Driving their car into the log truck. That was good.
Yeah, that's I gotta say, for a comedy film, I never would expect to have stunts like that, but yeah, that's I mean, you can't top that today. As far as comedy level, that's just like back in the day, it would have been like green screen, or not really green screen, it'd be but the 60s when they did their stunts, they're just going the wheel, that's it. The Sean Connery stuff. This was actually kind of cool, seeing them in the car and stuff, and just seeing the logs right above them. I gotta tell you though, the one thing that hasn't changed in this movie since this is Juliette Lewis. She's still a B. I cannot stand her character in this whole. She's the typical 80s.
Well, Rusty and whatever her name is, like they've been played now. This is the third movie, so Maroni's not seen any of these.
Is it the first movie?
Briefly do it. No. It's in the first one. Of course, it was played by somebody, and the guy who was just in Halloween
because
hit me.
Yeah, no. Rusty changed.
Right, Rusty changed all three. Same thing with Juliette Lewis.
Oh, did they really? Oh, okay.
Yes. I thought, yeah. So the son and the daughter are played by different people in each of the first three films, and I think they actually are in the fourth as well. Anthony Michael Hall actually was the son in the first one, and that's
yeah. Okay,
because remember he's having the father-son talk, and he gives his son a beer, and Rusty chugs it while his dad's talking, and he burps in his face. Vacation is tremendous. So. The second one is really kind of like that 80s
European.
Unfortunately, Fallout. It was made only for the 80s. You could exclude it, and it wouldn't really count because they go on a European vacation, which does make sense.
Which is weird because Rusty was older in that one.
Well,
European.
It was a year later, I think. So you can't follow these plots too hard. What you have to go by is like Clark Griswold and his wife. And she's actually very good, too, in it. So the family vacation is what the first movie is about, the second one in Europe. But this one, it's about them just being home. They're not really going anywhere for vacation, so it's kind of weird. And so people are coming to their house. Well, who's coming to the house? Well, their in-laws, people that he doesn't like. Well, what else does a guy have to do besides going through a bout of road rage, which all of us suffer when you have a significant other in the car with you, let alone children? It's very difficult to kind of... maintain that manliness and not flick people off, which Clark does. They look like they're going to shoot him. But he also goes crazy with the lights and everything else. Everything he tries to do that's important goes wrong. Yes.
Julia Dreyfus is her fancy little husband next door. They got they're typical
douchebags.
Douchebags. Rich douchebags, as to say. They got
atheistic, non-traditional.
They got
type, people.
They have the rubber suits on. That's the sweatsuits on, matching sweatsuits. I was like, oh, this is so 80s. I'm getting flashbacks to their movie we watched. I think it was called. Was it called? Oh,
Vision Quest, where he's dropping weight.
The Quest. The Quest. No,
Vision Quest.
Vision Quest. That's what it was. Yes,
yeah.
I got flashbacks to that when I saw it. No.
It's what the wrestlers would wear to make weight.
But it is fine though when he's putting those lights on and like the lights go on and off and like they're in there walking trying to go and they're tripping over because it's so bright. I love it. Like when it finally gets it all the way on, he's like, "Oh, it's working!" Like you see it, like, "Oh crap!" You see the power goes on everywhere else. So the nuclear reactors like, and they flip it out, turn it on. So then everybody has lights now around them.
Yeah, and
it's just dumb gags like that, but it makes me chuckle.
And you know what they are.
Yes.
And they're not funny, but here's the thing. It's not the gags that are funny, it's the person. And this all revolves around Chevy Chase, who even in Community, as recently as 5-10 years ago, the couple seasons he was in, his I hate saying this because I sound like I'm a shill tonight, but his sense of timing, the way he delivers lines is phenomenal. I mean, and then here, okay, if you've been watching Chevy Chase like me since the mid 70s and his all films, you know what his act is. He was Jim Carrey before there was even Jim Carrey. And so as much as I love a lot of Jim Carrey stuff and think he's great, I go, man, without, a few other actors and Chevy Chase being one of them, there's not a market for this kind of stuff there too. He is just absolutely perfect in all like his physical gags here and the stupid stuff that goes on, because yes, it's all cliche. You've got the older parents that kind of smell, that fall asleep, that, maybe dying, we don't know. And they want to take naps and stuff, but that's what you have to deal with because of this family. So Clark Griswold, his heart is in the right place, but he's just not very effective at it too. So it's nice to see his wife, kind of try to support him. But we as a guy really can identify him easily because we go, yeah, you got to get everything right, because if it's not worth it. And when he loses it, the one time he does it early on, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. He loses it one time in each movie really bad and goes on an epic rant with lots of F-bombs and everything else. And it's fantastic. And it's still funny to this day rewatching. If you know it, why? Because of Chevy Chase.
When he's on the ladder, he said that he kind of gets to the very top the first time, and like he's like, and then he looks over, and then the ladder slides back down. I've never had that happen before, but I've always been afraid of that. I hate ladders, and you have to go up on the roof and stuff like that. So I've always been like, okay, ladder, stay still. It's dirty. Check it. Double check before I get on. Get a 2-story house like that. It's scary. Versus people who have the ranch homes. Oh, I fell in the snow. I'm good. No,
in Florida, we were idiots because we would jump off the house into a pool, and that was just ridiculous. And well, here's the thing: one of the things that Clark always does too, because it's a guy thing, is he tries to model what it's like to be an effective male for his son. So he tries to drag Rusty out, who doesn't want to do any of it. And he makes him do the stupid stuff like untangle the Christmas lights. And he does it with such like an afterthought. Everybody can go, yeah, I remember my dad tried making me do chores around the house and I didn't want to do them. Rusty, go do them.
The cast in here is pretty, it was pretty cool though. Just seeing everybody in here. You had the Everybody Loves, I think it's the mother from Everybody Loves Raymond, isn't it?
Well, I didn't watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, I'm trying what her name is.
You mean his wife, Ellen?
Not Ellen, not Beverly DeVangelo. I thought it was the mother, her mother.
Oh, I don't know.
She's the one that's chain smoking in there. When the two, you see, she has the red hair.
Got me.
Oh man, I gotta look it up now because I'm pretty sure I recognize her as her, unless it's someone who looks just like her because she's younger.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at some of the other supporting casts, I mean, you get, of course, the in-laws, which aren't.
Yes, Doris Roberts.
Is that who you were thinking of?
Doris Roberts. Yeah, she's in here. Because she plays Frances Smith. Here when they come over. Mom. The mom stuff, and then that's another thing too. When they're there's a scene where and it comes in, and all of a sudden you see the two grandfathers in there just snoring away in sync, and then when one goes, and the other one does the same thing right away, and then it pans over. You see the Christmas, it's a Macy's Christmas parade, and you see Doris Day and the other wife in there. So they're like, she's like, Doris Day's like snoring. She turns the TV up louder, so it goes over snoring. It's real. It's real. I'm sure there are. It's I think you have the older people. It's natural for them to fall asleep during Christmas stuff, especially in guys. I'm 36. When I was 25 years old, I get a recliner. I'd step back. I'm out. Because like as soon as you sit down, a recliner. There's something about it. Recliners are meant for sleeping on. I don't care what anybody says. Otherwise, you would not fall asleep when you recline. That's just the way it is. But everything in this, and of course you got Bill Murray's brother in here too.
Brian Doyle Murray.
Doyle Murray.
Now Clark
boss.
Griswold is he's basically a chemical engineer in a sense. He works with additives and preservatives, and that's how he makes his money. So he does well. So a subplot to this movie, which is the Christmas element, is that everybody's coming over and all that, but he put a down payment on a swimming pool from the Christmas bonus. But the new boss who came in, who's Brian Doyle Murray, he came in and he's worked with Chevy Chase in a lot of movies, or before this actually, so they work well together. As the boss, he can't remember his name. Even though Clark does great work and has to get a report in time,
right?
Cancels everybody's bonus. So his was it his brother Eddie or whatever comes in, and that's played by Randy Quaid,
unannounced.
Drags him back to the house, and there's this scene at the end where the Christmas spirit comes out if you want to bite or whatever. It's kind of weak that way to me, because vacation, you're supposed to be going somewhere, and I like the Christmas part of this.
Well, the whole thing is he's at his house, and the whole thing is that originally he was like, she says like, oh, my parents go. He's like, oh, no, I'll tell him no. He's like, no. Christmas is about being together. The whole thing. Christmas spirit. He wants everyone to be together. He wants stuff, but he also wants to get the Christmas bonus check so he can build a pool for his kids. He wants to provide. So when they all come over, they're all fighting. He's like, well, he's like, and they're like, talking about who parked where and all stuff, and all the two father-in-laws are fighting and stuff. And I just love it. It's like, man, I could see somebody probably having a family like this where they're just that dysfunctional like that. Well, and he says like, I'm gonna be outside. I'll go park the cars. I'm gonna be like, you don't see me for the rest of the thing. It's like he has his idea and he leaves. He bails. Leaves the wife there.
Eddie is like, he's the person that you don't want, because he's not a bad guy.
Oh,
he's dirt poor.
He is.
Somehow you find
slob.
yourself giving money to him. Well, they live very sparse, and
I got a good deal on this RV. I borrowed it from a guy who took my house. He took the house. I took the RV.
Well, he empties out his septic tank right there. He's like, "Hey, the shitter got full. I'm gonna empty it out here."
It's going into the drainage stuff in the street. Oh, it's gonna stink.
Yeah, but it's not really that big a deal.
It's not meant for sewer. There's a lot of
side character, because he's a good guy. He's good-hearted. And he means well, but he just doesn't have any means whatsoever. So it makes Clark really uncomfortable. And in the first original vacation, when they stop to visit them, Clark, feels like he's got to give them money. And there's some disgusting scenes in there.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds you of being middle class is not necessarily a bad place to be, and that's where, Randy Quaid does such a great job at it. Yeah, this is one of those movies where, thinking of the 4 vacation movies, not that crap fifth one with what's his face from The Office. Don't even get me started.
I didn't watch that one.
No. Well, the first one, it's a John Hughes film. I mean, all these have John Hughes involved in them in some regard, at least writing and or directing. So the first one, I think, was 1983. That one is a classic. That is up there with any other 80s film out there. It's fun.
Then the other one was like 85 or 86.
I think it was 85, and it was European Vacation. That one's a dud. I mean, there's
some good scenes in there. Yeah.
It's a little weird. But this one, a lot of people like, but I think they like it. It's because it's Christmas. If it wasn't Christmas,
it's Christmas, and that's one of the reasons why I've always liked it more too. John Hughes movie too. John Hughes is a phenomenal director, producer, and everything. So his movies, I can't name a bad John Hughes movie. No,
that I can, and we'll get into that.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. So you can name as many as bad as you want.
John Hughes was not involved in the fourth one, which came out in, I think, 97, Vegas Vacation, and that one was
still
bad.
No, it wasn't that bad for being a non John Hughes movie. But compared to this last one, which was just horrible. I'll say that I'm not going to do any more of that. But going through this, reading more about this. Like, remember, this is in Chicago. That's where they're all from. Like you wouldn't think about that when you're watching this unless you know from the first movie where they lived.
Right.
In this, so
He was
and
wearing a Black Sox jersey
well, that's right, he was
coming down the stairs. I remember that going,
yeah,
oh, there you
yeah, I
go.
didn't notice that. I didn't. I mentioned that. Yeah. Um, there's a scene in here where like everything's going stressful for him and everything. He goes up in the attic. He gets locked up there. So he's in there. He's freezing to death. Everybody's gone. And he starts watching old film as of him as a kid with his mom and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's that really captures. That tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. Seeing
it's corny and it's cheesy.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be goofy because of what happens upstairs there in the attic as he goes to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works enough. It's hard to kind of go, oh yeah, you can see where this means a lot to him. Wanting to be the head of the household, and his older parents are there, his mother and father, and he wants to be a good son for them and show them a good Christmas too. I think the one scene that sums up this film, he's looking to buy his wife something for Christmas, so he's at the shopping mall, the Magnificent Mile, I'm sure, whatever, there in Chicago. He's looking at like perfume and like lingerie, and he always has that middle-aged guy's fantasy thing where a beautiful woman is always involved. So in the first movie, it's Christy Brinkley driving, I think, the Ferrari while they were driving. This one, it's the lady behind the sales counter. And I'm telling you, anybody, if you watch Chevy Chase in this one scene alone, where he's accidentally saying about how nipply it is and how he just keeps making all these mistakes and all that too, and he's trying to recover from it, not be embarrassed with her there. And then trying to act like the man and failing spectacularly. Nobody does it better than Chevy Chase. If anybody can pull off a scene like that, that's great. And if you can do a scene like that without really going overboard, then you're a good comic actor. But it's because it's not easy, but it's just so funny watching them, and you're like, that's good. For me, I think this movie is solid. If I were to rank the vacation films, then I'll hand it over to you, and we'll do our final thoughts. The first vacation film is the best. I think probably the second best is this one. Although I think in third place, which is actually pretty close, would be Vegas. And I would say in number 4, I would put European. I could watch them all, but I'm not going to go, man, I want to go watch European Vacation again. But if I was in a weird mood and I was putting the TV on and it happened to be on, there's nothing else, I wouldn't change the channel. But once in a blue moon vacation, you go, yeah, that makes me feel like family and reminds me of what it was like for when I would go on trips cross country on family vacations. And Christmas Vacation is one that you can always play around Christmas, which is nice. So those two really are the ones that stand out a lot for me. How would you rate the vacation films?
Oh man, well, I have to go watch the first one. It's been a while since I watched that one. I only remember Wally World and John Candy, and then the grandma. That's about it. I can't remember anything else from that movie. I have to go. So I definitely have to go watch that. It's been probably 20 years since I've watched that.
Oh, wow.
We'll have to do.
So it's unfair for me to ask that.
Yeah. The second one, I remember a lot of parts. He said there were some funny scenes in there, but it was more serious. This one will always, I guess, I'll rank this one right up there with the first movie. I mean, well, I'd have to watch the first movie more, but I would say right now this is my top one. The Christmas one,
certainly fresh in your mind.
If it's fresh in my mind, well, it's also one I watch every year.
It is one of those kind of films. It does have that going for it.
It has it going for it. So I mean, I would rank the Vegas Vacation over the European Vacation.
Yeah,
Vegas Vacation just because I love everything that goes on with it. I love the little guy. I won the money. And he dies. He's gonna try to go take it. Like, I'm still alive. I'm like, oh. But like the Vegas, the European Vacation, like that was the game show was just so stupid like that. I hated that. That was dumb. And then the guy steals the camera from them. The poor guy. I think it's what's his name from Monty Python, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, what's his?
Not him, but the second guy.
Not John Cleese, but the other one.
Right.
Dang it! I used to know his name like right there, but I haven't watched Monty Python in such a long time. But it's not John Cleese; it's the other one.
No, it's not. It's not the other guy.
It's a short logo, but that's
the side angle that gets them all involved.
He always gets beat up. Eric Idle. That's what it is. Eric Idle. Yes. He's always getting beat up in the second movie. Because of broken legs up. He's like, when he sees Chevy, he's like, oh, God, not him again. It's like, so there's situational humor. The videotape of what's her name in the shower ends up being stolen because it was on the camera. The pictures they took, and then then they ends up being some French billboard ad of Clark's wife.
Right. Well, the funniest part is the fact that they're all wearing berets on the Eiffel Tower and they're not French.
Like
Oh,
I have
so
to wear the
insulting.
braid. The kids hate it. Rusty finally makes out with a girl.
Yeah.
Gets a
No,
girlfriend.
it's
It's
just a movie
that's
there.
that's what threw me off though, because when I learned that Christmas movie like this one was later than the other ones, I was like, is this a prequel?
No.
It's not.
No.
Which is so weird. It's like it's like current DC Comics, Marvel Comics. There's no continuity. Like nobody else. One person's age this way, and next thing you know, they're back to being a kid again. It's like,
well, the fourth one, John Hughes wasn't involved at all, even though Chevy Chase.
Yeah. But I mean, like 1 through 3 was John Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened here? He decided, like, let's go with Christmas Story, because he based this one off the 1959 National Lampoon's story called, it's called, what was it called? Christmas 59, I think it was, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, it's yeah. So it was kind of interesting to see that they actually did this movie based off an actual short story that was in the magazine. That's where he got that, and he wrote back in apparently he wrote back in 1959 or something like that, or not, or it's qualified at 59, one of those two. But yeah, like I said, this movie has always been one of those I can watch over and over again. I've seen the Santa Claus 1 or 2 times, and that's all I need to do. I don't need to watch it anymore, even though I love Tim Allen humor and stuff.
Yeah,
but I always get
more rewatchable than that.
Yes, this is very rewatchable with that. And this is stuff you can watch with your kids. Stuff, just the whole thing. I have a Griswold's cap around here somewhere. Santa hat. I couldn't resist. I was at a Kohl's one year. I was like, dude, they got a Griswold thing here. I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this.
Well, I do think for Thanksgiving, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a far superior film in general, but that's just good and funny. This is funny in a lighthearted Christmas way.
Yes.
And Clark Griswold is like the ultimate family man, the nice, good guy who you're not embarrassed by, but kind of a little bit, but not really. And honestly, as cheesy as watching those movies are, it's really hard to find somebody that's like that today that's iconic and memorable for it too, and kind of funny. And it does summarize probably the best of what the 80s would offer in terms of a male role model father figure, because by the 80s you were starting to get single mom syndrome or fathers behind a newspaper or nothing going on. So it is kind of refreshing when you go back and look at it to go, yeah, all the stuff that was going on in those movies still kind of goes on today in a lot of families with vacations and trips and stuff. And like you said, family members that, you may not want to visit or deal with, but you have to because it's the holiday. So it's kind of a universal appeal, I think, to it. But these movies, I think, should be watched, like, say, by Maranya, who hasn't seen any of them. Just start in order whenever you feel like it. Watch them. 4, you can watch whenever. Don't be on a rush, but 1 is exceptional. You can watch them out of order. I will say that.
I would say this. Yeah, you can watch 1 and 2 Christmas Vacation by themselves.
Yeah.
Or you can watch this one first, and then if you really want to, because it's weird how he's a kid here, but it's not like a prequel. It's just like I don't know if it's really a sequel. I think it just takes place out of the timeline.
They're like standalones to me.
Yeah,
that's how I take
it.
Yeah. Like if he did one today in the 70s, he could do it today. It would be a standalone, and it would still be funny.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts?
I'll just quick mention right here. This movie came on December 1st, 1989. It's a Warner Brothers. It's the budget was $25 million, made $73.3 million. So yeah, it's just, this is the movie you watch. If you like Ernest.
No.
And listen to me. In the sense where he does stuff and he gets hurt. That's correct. That's Griswold. That's the shtick, Yeah. So like I said, when he's putting the Christmas lights up, he's doing with the stapler gun, doing that, and then the letter falls.
That's right. That's funny. It sounds so stupid, but it's funny. You're right. The staple gun.
Just him like trying to put the lights on, everything else. If he finally gets on me, he's like, It doesn't want to work. They won't plug. The lights won't turn on. The grandma goes in there to turn on, gets something a light, gets one on the stove, gets a pie, turns the light on. He's like, "Oh my gosh, scared, come on!" And I come out, the lights are off because she turns the light off in the garage. But then his wife goes in there, she goes turn the light off, and she's like, "Hey, quick, honey, come here!" It's like, and she's blowing out because he's got he's got like 30 plugs into one outlet strip in the garage, and she's blowing on it to keep it cool. I'm thinking like the fire hazard. Then she turns the light up and goes back out. And he's like, oh. Then she finally then she realizes what's going on. So he's got the cord. He's gonna plug it in. She turns the light on. He gets shocked. So I just love the movie for what it is. It's Christmas. It's Chevy Chase being Chevy Chase. It's just when I think of Chevy Chase now, I can't think of anything but Griswold, because it's just the way he is. He's not Land Shark yet.
Iconic. It really is.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You would have to put, if you just made a banner of significant pictures or people from the 80s, Clark Griswold is on it.
I mean, people, when you think of that's what I think of. I think of Clark Griswold when I think of Chevy Chase, or Land Shark. No.
It's hard. Yeah. We'll go see it. Check it out.
Check it out. And it's, like I said, you can get this movie for as low as $5 on Blu-ray, I think, or Walmart, or DVDs. Where else is it playing? I want to see what. I think you can rent it on Vudu too, or let's see here. If you have HBO Max, you can watch it for free. Yep. YouTube, you can rent it. You can rent it for $4. Apple TV for $4. Vudu for $4. I think they might be renting. I think that's what it is. Yeah, for Vudu, because I think you can. It might be the price for Vudu as well for buying. I think it might be $10 for buying on Vudu. It's on Amazon Prime for $4 too. So pretty much where you go, you can watch. You can rent it for $4, or you can find it at any. Like right now, go to Walmart. $5. They have the DVD. They may not have the Blu-ray, but man, and they might have a collection of them. Who knows? So,
my final thought, one of the best lines I always think about, is from Vacation 1, where they're in the sleeping bag, right? And Clark's in there, and she's starting to freak out, and he's on top of her, getting ready to mount her, and he's like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna go for it, honey." And then the dog attacks them. It's just the way, because she calls him Sparky when she's feeling a little frisky. That's their code word. Oh, Sparky. I think I'm going to go for it, honey. Yeah, missions are fun. Check these out. Check out also what we've just dropped recently. We just reviewed some of the Rankin Bass animated specials from the 70s, generally speaking, Christmas-wise. Some of the ones that were noteworthy that we wanted to at least talk about, because I think they're underappreciated and need some more public discussion, so we wanted to cover those too. We're going to be putting up a poll here soon to cover what we're going to go over next Sunday night, which is our last broadcast before Christmas, I believe, or one of them anyway. So we're debating on Christmas horror, because there's a Dan Haggerty Elves movie, which is just absolutely batshit insane, that I personally would love to cover. But then there's other ones too, and everyone will go, "Oh, you got to do Black Christmas." No, the F I don't. But there's other ones out there too. So if you got any that you'd like to see, maybe we'll have a spot on there for you guys to represent that too. But RD and I are going to hammer that out here and get it posted there soon. So thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for everybody to know that we exist as we continue on our march towards 1,000 subs. RDV, thank you for showing up tonight. As always, have a good night. Thanks for listening. Stay extreme.
Merry Christmas.